Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Snetzler. I am with Qualtrics. Qualtrics is an experience management organization, and I've been at Qualtrics for a little over 9 years now. And one thing that continually keeps me at Qualtrics is knowing that our mission is all about that human connection. And at Qualtrics, we see that there's really 4 key pillars of an organization. You have your brand, which is that promise of what you're putting out into the market about who you are and what you stand for. It's that embodied in the products and services that you deliver, which is shaped by your employees, which ultimately deliver the customer experience. That customer experience then correlates back to what your brand is. And so organizations today really need to think about how they can integrate all those different key pillars into one experience layer to really understand how each is affecting the other. And so at Qualtrics, what we look at is how can we help organizations deepen the relationships and build that bridge with their customers and with their employees. And so we took that same methodology and that same philosophy and we applied it to our AI and then more specifically our agents. So in today's conversation, I'm going to walk you through 2 components of Qualtrics methodology. The first is how we're going to help you with your AI agents that are already deployed today, which we call agent efficacy. And so how can we make sure that those agents are really performing in the right way to build that human connection and that empathy with your customers and with your employees. And then the second part, I'll be able to share a little bit more about how Qualtrics thinks about experience agents and where and when are the right places to deploy them. So when looking at Qualtrics and understanding our perspective, we are really seeing a huge focus on, in the rush to automate, organizations are really losing that human connection. And so you have organizations that are buying all these AI tools and technologies, but it's falling short. You're sending customers down dead ends, and employees are so inundated with all of these new tools and technology that they have to use that it's really causing employee burnout. And so people don't want just faster responses and faster resolution. They want to feel seen and feel heard. And don't just take our word for it. We had our XM Institute who recently did this 2026 Customer Experience Trends Report, went all over the globe and surveyed consumers and to get a better understanding of what's going on in the customer experience world. And more specifically, what's exciting is that when you looked at consumer comfort with AI, it's rebounded, right? 73% of us are using it for our daily tasks. However, when you drill down specifically into customer service, AI is failing. It has the highest failure rate of any AI application. And then in addition to that, it really underperforms on specific metrics when you're looking at ease of use. Did it save you time? Did you find the ideas useful? And most importantly, did you receive any benefits from that AI or that agent interaction? And we talked with a lot of our customers and we're starting to see this. This is especially true when it comes to your customer service departments and customer experience parts of your organization. They are feeling the pain of this, right? There's so much pressure to use AI, so much pressure to be more productive, to be more efficient, to dig deeper into the insights. But AI technology is a tool and experience is that outcome. And so AI does not equal experience. So the question becomes, how can you be able to test and validate that your AI agents are really performing that great customer experience versus just really thinking about operational efficiencies and things like deflecting calls? And so we start to see all of our customers come to us with these problems because we've always been focusing on how can we help organizations deliver that best-in-class customer experience. And so what we've done is we really diagnosed what problems that we can help our customers solve. The first one is really focusing on customer experience blind spots. So how can we, or our customers were starting to see that they couldn't easily answer the questions of if their AI agents were improving that customer experience or not, right? There was damage to brand loyalty because they weren't providing that great interaction with their customers. 2, there was no consistent benchmarking. So they didn't have the ability to understand how is my human agent in the call center performing as it relates to my AI agent that I have on our website. What's the difference in that customer experience? And also, when can I understand when I can throttle down that human agent and throttle up that AI agent because they're providing a just as good or better customer experience? There's also ineffective optimization. So this is more so when thinking about what is that root cause of when that AI agent is deployed, why did it fail? right? A lot of organizations today use that thumbs up, thumbs down, but that's all the information that they have available to them. And lastly, you have siloed reporting. So you have all these insights that have different vendors and different tools, right? You might have your own homegrown agent. You might be deploying an AWS agent or a Salesforce agent or a ServiceNow agent. But how do you know how those are all performing holistically and being able to benchmark to truly understand what that conversation and what that connection is like with your customers and employees? And so that's where Qualtrics comes into play. So what we've done is that we've provided this intelligence layer to really ensure that your AI agents are not just efficient, but are also driving positive CX outcomes, right? So how can we focus on top line revenue growth and understand that there's cross-sell, upsell opportunities, we're improving that brand loyalty and solving customer problems, as well as helping you with that bottom line growth and that operational efficiencies. And so what we do is we offer this best practice methodology to really measure and improve that AI agent experience while also ensuring that AI automation is a positive customer experience for your customers and for your employees. And so what we look to do is improve the business impact of AI agents, ensure positive customer experience, and help avoid that AI agent risk. And so the way that we do that is what we're looking to do is we measure your AI channels you measure your agents against all of your traditional support channels. So you're going to have your human in the contact center, you're going to have your legacy chatbot, and then you're going to have your homegrown agent that you might be using, plus all the different agents that you have deployed that are interacting with your customers. From there, we're going to measure all of the agent interactions against each other without the bias of an LLM as a judge or a proprietary measurement. And then we report beyond just that customer satisfaction, that thumbs up, thumbs down, to really understand things like sentiment and emotion and intent and effort and what that interaction is like with your agent. And what this results in is being able to drive faster adoption of new AI channels by being able to indicate when they're going to start to outperform and reduce that risk and build that trust of those agents within your organization. We're also going to help determine which AI channels are providing the best customer experience, so again, that throttle perspective, and then optimizing the agents. So this part is really important. Once we're able to diagnose and get a full understanding of what that agent is doing and whether it's providing a great customer experience or poor one, then how can we feed that information back into your coaching the author, and when you're building the agents in your studio, how can we continually feed that information back to improve that agent again and again and again to keep delivering a better customer experience. And then lastly, we can feed all that sentiment data into the reference layer for the LLM. So when looking at how we do that and how do we measure AI agent effectiveness, there's a couple of components, right? So one is the CX and outcome metrics. This is Qualtrics' bread and butter. It's looking at customer satisfaction, it's looking at sentiment, it's looking at effort, it's also looking at resolution rate. Then we bring in risk, security, and quality assurance. So how can we look at manual quality assurance? How can we look at toxicity that's coming up or biases within your agent conversations? How can we think about customer data leakage indicators? And then taking it further, looking at operational efficiency. So what's that containment rate? How's the average handling time? And then moving further down into agent quality and performance, percentage of errors, agent confusion, and then customer behavior and engagement. So being able to pull all of that information from both the conversation that's being had between your agent and your customer, but then also what we do is at the end of that conversation, we bring up a Qualtrics survey. And within that survey, we've applied our own methodology to really ensure that you're getting the most information for what to do on how to improve and where the gaps are as it relates to your customer experience. So we're focusing on customer satisfaction. I'll get into our AP3 model, and then lastly, we're looking at operational metrics. So when you think about the CSAT perspective, we're going to be asking questions about support topics, team by team, and against operational data. How was that overall satisfaction of when you were having this conversation with agents? And then we're going to look at agent performance, so feedback specifically about the agent that handled that interaction. Resolution, did we solve your problem? Tell us why. And then unstructured feedback. So the great thing about Qualtrics with our surveys is that we provide this Gen AI layer for conversational analytics. So when you think about you're taking a survey, you might answer a couple questions, and then there's going to be an open-ended text box for you to fill out based upon your response. Well, based upon the response that you give in that open-ended text box, our survey platform will then start to ask additional questions based on your response. Provide more information. Will now tell us more about the specific topic. to allow you as an organization to gather as much information as you can from that respondent when they are giving you feedback. And then we look at operational metrics within the study too. So thinking about things like time expired, asking a question about how long they actually spoke with the agent, looking at things like channel used, which channels did you use before you interacted with this agent. Also understanding number of contacts, right? Is this your first time reaching out to the agent? And then lastly, thinking about resolution. Did we resolve your issue? So we're gathering all of that feedback and then also taking in different benchmarks of understanding, looking at friendliness, knowledge, and understanding. So from a friendliness perspective, and each of these dimensions I do want to note is separate coachable skill. So that's what we're going to ask separate questions for each of these components and then bring them into the broader survey. So perception of friendliness is obviously a huge key thing. You expect your customer service agents to be friendly right off the bat. Knowledge. Did they actually understand and were not only able to answer your question, but did they truly understand the root cause, your problem, and help you get to the root cause and resolution? And then lastly, with an understanding. So just a perception of how well did the agent understand the issue rather than just the agent's knowledge. And so that's a little bit about how we're thinking through our methodology and our approach for what we call agent efficacy. So be happy to talk to you more about how you can think about where your AI agents are deployed today and they are either interacting with your customer, or you can take the same methodology and apply it to internal agents that are interacting with your employees to continually help building that customer experience. But what I do also want to touch base on is how Qualtrics has then taken this methodology and applied it to when we're building our own experience agents and where we see the market going when it comes to experience management. So Qualtrics has always been focused on helping organizations listen to their customers when they want to get feedback, understand that information, so bring it into the platform from analysis, look at key drivers, things of that nature to really understand macro trends. Organization, this is what you need to do to improve that customer experience. But then also being able to act and optimize. So thinking through things like that micro perspective, how can I close the loop with an individual when they do have a problem? And where we're seeing modern experience management programs go, and Qualtrics really is at the frontier of helping organizations think about experience management, is thinking how can we move from this measurement system to an activation engine? And so how can we listen across every single, not just a signal, not just direct feedback when our customers are answering a survey, but more so thinking about where can we go out and pull feedback, whether that be within social, on digital, and bringing in operational data sets, or even looking at things like chats and then obviously agents. And then how can we move from really being a reactive, here's what you need to do, to being more proactive? So understanding what's next. How can we spot risks that are at the early stage? How can we forecast churn before it begins? And then how can we test what-if scenarios and strategies for our organization before we commit? And then lastly, when thinking about that activation and optimization at scale, how can we resolve issues automatically, route to that right owners, and close the loop as fast as possible? And so when you think about the power of experience agents, we are already deployed in a large number of organizations, and we are that touch point that your customers have with you. So how can we think about providing these agents and providing this empathetic and authentic conversation, as well as the action behind it, and being able to close the loop as quickly and fastly as possible? How can we act as a system of orchestration, so not just really thinking about dashboards, but how can we route information to the right people at the right time so that they can act on it within the organization? And then how can we help resolve issues before they escalate and provide outcomes that you can prove and are delivered fast and at scale? So with Qualtrics agents, we're looking to increase that resolution time, we're looking to increase loyalty with your customers, and we're also looking to decrease that attrition. And when you think about where experience agents orchestrate in your technology stack, think of it as the experience layer. So you have all this operational data that sits in relation to your customers, right? You've got your CRM, you've got your customer support, you got your call center, you have your CDP, et cetera. What Qualtrics does is that's all operational. Qualtrics is then the experience layer of understanding not what, which is what operational data gives you, but why. What is that experience, human connection element that's connected to all of that different data? And then we're already at the place where we're having that interaction with your customers, whether it's through feedback, through surveys, or looking at digital and site intercepts and bringing in all of that behavioral data of what your customer's doing on your website and apps, and then within your call center and how those conversations are going in your human call center today, and then bringing in social. And so with our ability to take all that information and then provide the right analysis and action is really what sets our experienced agents apart from other agents out there today. And so my call to action for all of you is if you do have Qualtrics deployed in your organization or another survey provider, think about it like this, right? Let's think about if there's one survey that your organization is leveraging where they're already closing the loop. And what I mean by that is if a survey pops up, someone asks a question, and then it goes to someone in a customer service center to answer that question or to fix that problem. What if we can leverage our experience agent to have that conversation already and either route to the human to review a response before it sends, or automatically have that resolution already sent in real time? And so that's a little bit about the Qualtrics agents, and be happy to discuss more. But thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.